Well, this is it.
This is it. This is it. This is it.
Here today to present my top 10 best movies of 2019. 2 days ago, I posted my top 10 worst movies this year, which of course this year 2019, I have certainly experienced some of the worst movies of all time. But to be fair, it still had its gems. But before we recap the 10 movies that shined this year, I do want to bring up some honorable mentions. And these honorable mentions are Hobbs and Shaw, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Us, Shazam, Spider-Man, Far From,
The ones who abandoned you, chasing the love only humans who made you feel wanted.
and finally, the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And now, let's get this party started. At number 10 is John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Now, the John Wick series is becoming one of my favorite action franchises ever, guys. In a trilogy that has been consistently great, guys. But this is easily the best in the John Wick trilogy. Keanu Reeves absolutely knocks it out of the park. Halle Berry is awesome in this movie. Man, she came a long way since Catwoman. And that awesome badass moment when she's like, you shot my dog. And he literally shot that guy's knee. Man, this movie could get really brutal. People do complain about the ending, but I thought it was a great setup for John Wick 4. Boy, I can't wait for John Wick Chapter 4. At number 9, guys, was a choice I sadly really wanted to put into my top 5, guys. If it wasn't for the other 8 choices that made it at low at number 9. But I still absolutely adore it. That's Captain Marvel. Certainly one of the most underrated MCU movies, and one of the most underrated movies of the year. And certainly one of the greatest female empowerment superhero movies ever, guys. Certainly along with Wonder Woman. I can't believe people call this the most boring movie of the year. Personally, I'm like, nah, not in my opinion. Toy Story 4 is the most boring movie of the year. Sorry. Captain Marvel was freaking epic. Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, one of my favorite actresses ever, and she nailed it. She was badass. Awesome. I love the relationship between her and Nick Fury. The Kree were very interesting villains. Goose was absolutely adorable. Oh, you just wanted to cuddle with him. And the freaking awesome climax where Carol Danvers just blocking out all those missiles and Carol telling Rowan to stay out of my swamp. Yeah, and just screw Dark Phoenix. This is the one true female superhero movie of this year. At number 8 is Abominable. To quote a certain end credit song at the end credits, what a beautiful film. Personally, I don't view this movie as a How to Train Your Dragon ripoff. I'm sorry, people. It's much more different if you think about it. This was such an engaging road trip-like movie for, you have, Yi taking, this, Yeti named Everest home, guys. Okay, no pun. Yeah, Yi was such a lovable and one of my favorite DreamWorks protagonists is now. Like the other two kids, Everest was such a lovable lug. And also, I do want to defend this. I know people, say the villains are weak, but honestly, I can see, the villain who played Miles Axelrod in Cars 2. There was a twist that I thought was kind of relatable. I do want to root for him, but at the same time, he also sees that Yetis are harmless creatures. I'm glad they made his girl assistant the main villain. She was pretty cool. But yeah, even the movie has beautiful animation. I really felt like I was in China. And like I said, Abominable is such a beautiful film. At number 7, Joker. Joker is a prime example of a comic book movie masterpiece. It's intense, powerful. I'm glad it got an R rating, that's what I felt to say. But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix, he will go down in history as one of the greatest Jokers ever. Joker just doesn't immediately become psychopathic. It takes time for him to become psychopathic and become one of the greatest crime lords of Gotham. Some of the most shocking moments in this movie, one of my favorites actually, is when when Arthur shot Don Leno dead at the TV station. Man, that made me gasp. But is Joaquin Phoenix the greatest Joker as everybody's making him out to be? Not me. I still prefer Heath Ledger. He'll always be my favorite. Ledger will always be my favorite Joker. Alright, now let's bring out the tier list of the movies this year. You have, at the bottom, some of the worst movies of all time. Moving up, you have the bad movies. You have the painfully average movies. You have the ones. You have the really good ones. You have the masterpieces. But now, you get the big boys. The top 6 movies. These are some of my all-time favorites, guys. So, let's do this. At number 6, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. That is, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Duh. Yes, Mom, family, if you're watching this, all of you, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love this pick. It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. It's cinematic art, guys. Yeah, sure, while Joker was a thrilling crime thriller, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is such a relaxing as well as emotional movie that'll help any person cure their stress. This movie also helped me, helping me cure all the stuff all the bad stuff that happened in my past. It's such a sweet, delightful movie. It'll speak to anyone, even reflects of stuff of in the future, guys, when I have kids and my own baby. It's that wholesome. And yeah, I'm glad it's my mom's favorite movie of the year. So you totally get why. And if you have not watched it, please do. You're really missing out. At number 5, Claws. Now, I normally don't count Netflix movies, as I am more of a cinematic moviegoer. But hey, I only talk about Netflix movies only if it feels very cinematic. And Claws is no exception. Claws is a wonderful, charming, and beautifully animated Christmas movie. Glad it's a different origin of Santa Claus. And yeah, this movie will go down as one of the greatest Christmas movies ever. Now, the top 4 contenders are part of a big franchise, and I think they are the best of the best. The true big boys. At number 4, sorry Skylar Joven, not everybody's gonna agree with this one, but Terminator Dark Fate. Sure, I'm in the minority when I say this is the best Terminator movie ever. I personally don't view this movie as a cash grab. It is not a Transformers sequel. It is not a Despicable Mequel. I think it's an artistic achievement that this franchise deserves. You may not like this movie, but you can't deny this movie wasn't made out of cynical laziness. They actually tried. They brought in a very talented director, Tim Miller, who rightfully saved Deadpool after the terrible origins. He did the same with the Terminator franchise, and it pays off. To me, this is a much more ambitious movie than Terminator 2. It went in a direction that even the other Terminator movies couldn't. I didn't mind having a story where Sarah Connor feels a lot of grief for the loss of her son, John Connor, from this Terminator from a different timeline. All the characters, they gave their A-game performance, guys. Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor was electrifying. She's such a badass, but very sympathetic at the same time. Especially in the shocking moment where he almost, attempted to punch Arnold in the face. That was just wholesome. And Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator himself, he's the best he's ever been. He was a badass. He's less comedic than he was in the other movies, as well as being the most sympathetic in the franchise. Grace was my favorite character in the movie, man. She's also a very sympathetic character who came from the future to protect Dani and to inspire her to inspire Grace back and her future younger self. Dani was great. She's nothing like Isabella from The Last Night. She's a great badass, and Grace, she is very protective to her, which she's like, that is not your father. Of course, our villain, Rev 9, what a badass. He puts T-1000 to absolute shame. He's acting like a crybaby now. This guy is so invincible, so intimidating. I'd freak out and go berserk whenever he comes on screen. The action in this movie's honestly some of the best I've ever seen in any movie. Yeah, I'll go that far. From the truck chase in Mexico City, it tops even the truck chase in Terminator 2. In the climax was exhilarating when all our main characters are battling Rev 9 with every object they have, from chains, sharp objects they use to just battle this machine. Having these 3 human beings just take on this dangerous, deadly machine is just magnificent. Pop sacrifices himself in that, spinning propeller to kill off Red 9. Even Grace sacrifices herself, and oh, I was bawling my eyes out when Grace dies in sacrifice for Danny's life. Yeah, just the fact this is one of the biggest box office bombs of 2019 is embarrassing. Please give Terminator Dark Fate a chance if you have it, guys. It deserves your time. I can't believe garbage like Knives Out got a higher rating than this masterpiece. At number 3, I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was possible there'd be a movie that's much more underrated than Terminator Dark Fate. But there shockingly was. Number 3, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. A movie that just came out recently. I personally can't believe critics are being so harsh and nitpicky to this masterpiece. And some calling it like the worst Star Wars movie ever. I'm like, have you seen Attack of the Clones? That is the worst to me. Rise of Skywalker, on the other hand, is an amazing, phenomenal, it returned to the Star Wars franchise. I got to re-love this franchise all over again. I'm overjoyed they made Rey the front and center of this movie, which Last Jedi should have did. This movie has some of the most darkest moments in the franchise. Yeah, this movie is really dark. Makes Empire Strikes Back look like Boss Baby. At least I'm overjoyed I'm overjoyed this movie's making freaking bank this opening weekend. And to those who haven't seen it yet, go watch it now. You'll be blown away. Ignore the critics. Avengers! Assemble! Yes! This is it, Chief. The peak of superhero movies. Avengers Endgame! The fact that it's the runner-up goes to show how great the top 6 is. Sure, Rise of Skywalker to me was an underrated gem and a great conclusion to that series, but I mean, come on, it's Endgame. At least Marvel had a plan in the making, guys. The Russo brothers, Stanley himself, should absolutely be very proud. This was such a superhero sensation that absolutely paid off in flying colors. Personally, I thought this movie was really necessary to be 3 hours long. You needed the perfect closure and build up for these characters, as well as the final battle. First hour being so great, little to no dialogue. Just seeing the resolution of how, during the Uno Snap 5 years ago. The second act being a freaking phenomenal time-traveling exposition, going through some of the most iconic events in the MCU and some of the not-so-iconic events. Some of the humor really worked, especially America saying, wow, that is America's ass. Sorry I said that. I still felt these characters had so much repercussion and lost, like Thor trying to comfort back his mother during the events of Thor the Dark World. Which at least Endgame made me at least appreciate Thor the Dark World more. That movie's just mediocre. Oh boy. Don't want to happen again. Sorry, I hate when the iPad fades out. I was crying out tears of joy when I saw the Avengers 360 shot during the year 2012. And even was so relieved to seeing that come and get your love. You know, that iconic scene in the opening Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, it's just a great love letter to the MCU. As well as being crucial to a plot device for these characters. I didn't mind Black Widow dying, to be honest. I thought it was a very powerful send-off. Of course, I wanted Black Widow at least to give Hawkeye's life for his family back, and so it can be a strong, powerful, happy ending. Sure, it was hard for to deal with the loss of Black Widow, but I had to accept that. I even felt bad when Bruce Banner got his arm hurt and damaged by trying to do an Uno Snap reverse. However, leading up to the 2014 Thanos coming back to the present day. And of course, taking down the Avengers facility. But of course, this also leads us to the most sensational, unimaginable miracle you can ever think of in the history of mankind. Every member of the Avengers, every Marvel character you've grown to love in the MCU, all return, ready to battle Thanos and his army. Cap saying, Avengers! assemble. Just freaking epic. Every audience around me was cheering all left and right. It was a magnificent, beautiful experience I'll remember for the rest of my life. Love the moment when Star-Lord and Gamora reenact that one scene from Shrek 4. All female MCU heroes uniting to take on Thanos. And once Thanos got the Infinity Gauntlet and he's like, I am inevitable. But however, there was no stones. Tony has it, and Iron Man says, and I am Iron Man. And then Uno snapped. Now Thanos never exists. However, this leads to now Tony dying, leading up to this beautiful, heart-wrenching funeral. It's a powerful tribute to Tony's character and journey that absolutely floored me when I watched this movie. Leading up to also Chris Evans, Steve Rogers going back in time to be with the love of his life during the 70s, Peggy Carter, I think, and hearing that classic song from like the 50s, It's Been a Long Day. Leading us to a beautiful tribute to all the events of the MCU, all leading up to our most iconic Avengers and the actors' names. One of the greatest end credit scenes I have ever seen. Thank you, the Russo brothers, for giving this magnificent masterpiece. Couldn't be more proud to call it the best movie of the year.
Hey, wait a minute.
Why is it not number one again? Well said, Astrid. Yes, How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World, is the king of 2019 movies. While I do really love the MCU, and I get people will strongly prefer Endgame over this masterpiece, but to me, How to Train Your Dragon franchise is much more nostalgic to me. And masterpieces like this to me goes to show how DreamWorks is the greatest movie studio in Hollywood to me. First two were absolute masterpieces. How did DreamWorks manage to top those movies with this? The story is the most mature out of in all the series movies, guys. It leaves the most impact. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. It breaks new grounds for CGI animation. I mean, even when you look at Disney this year, their movies, from their remakes to their sequels, don't make me laugh. Those were only made for the moolah. This here. But DreamWorks here made this sequel for art. In which, sadly, some of my subscribers that call the movie overrated, Real Spider-Bird, for example, can't accept that this movie is not made out of cynical laziness. It really isn't. It was a movie made of heart. It was a movie made with heart and care and from talented people and animators who work on this masterpiece. Even the characters are the best they have ever been in the series. Hiccup is much more mature at this point. Even Astrid was great. Them getting married at the end, all was so sweet, guys. It was a great homage to the ending in Return of the King. Toothless was great, and the Light Fury. Oh, she is the best badass character of 2019. Well, next to Grace from Terminator Dark Fate. I thought the humor was really hilarious, especially, I don't get the hate with Ruff not being stuck in the cell when she's like, my hair's like little Ziploc, see? Rawr, rawr, yeah. And those mold spots look like ice, so cute. Yeah, that was funny, and Gobbler's quote in the climax. That's a bad goblin. You're cursed. And yeah, the gobblers basically snatch up the ship. Oh. And of course our villain, Grimold. Frickin' amazing. He blows Francis from the Boss Baby out of the water for sure. He has great quotes like, fighting spirit, I love that. Only you have never seen anything like me. Yeah, this is certainly the darkest in the franchise, and the darkest of what animation can go, guys. The climax is absolutely sensational, guys. Where all our main dragon trainers get to free all the dragons, and while Hiccup is trying to save the Light Fury from Grimold, however, then Hiccup starts to attack him, and Grimold's like, "You killed both of us, fighting for a dragon? That's your plan?" And Toothless replies to Light Fury, "Save him." And then, and just the shocking imagery here. When Toothless is losing all of his dragon armor, Hiccup's losing his dragon armor, and then, but then Light Fury thankfully saves him, and Grimold gets his comeuppance. And after that, this leads to now all the dragons having to relocate to the hidden world. And Hiccup replies to him, "Our world doesn't deserve you. Yet." And here Toothless giving a last hug. And the wedding I talked about earlier. And now seeing Hiccup's kids. And now revisiting Toothless' kids. And just seeing the same love and affections that they had. Bringing the same love that they had in the first two movies. Is bittersweet. This is such an epic landmark in animation. And movies in general. I even prefer this over every live action movie there is, guys. Controversial. It is neck to neck with the Wreck-It Ralph duology, the original Lion King, and especially Inside Out, as my absolute favorite movie of all time. And it's a dang strong win for the best animated features at the Oscars this year. And Academy, I got my eyes on you. If you give it to Toy Story 4, I'm gonna rip your buns off. Because I'll forever love this movie as well as this entire trilogy. And I couldn't be more than proud to call How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World, the #1 best movie of 2019. Well, that was it for my top 10 best movies of 2019. What a crazy year this has been, guys. But hey, the future is looking bright from here this next decade. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm actually really curious about this one. Hey look, Harley Quinn is back. By judging by the second trailer, I'm gonna give this a chance. Yeah, we'll see. Blah. I'm trying my best not to hate it. Yeah, it's gonna suck. Heck no! Heck yeah! It's about time we get our origin story pumping. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! This is gonna rock. Sorry, but I'm having doubts. The hype is on! The hype is on as well as this one. Glad you're coming back to your original times, Pixar. Who knows, maybe this is in the same world as Inside Out. Skip, I'm not gonna lie. Personally, this movie looks worse than the 2016 reboot. Hey Nolan, it's been a while. We'll see. We are back, baby. This ought to be epic. Hey look, Pixar is not the only ones returning to original stuff. This is gonna be awesome. And good luck, Dennis Villeneuve. Skadoosh, everybody. Wish you all a Merry Christmas.
The world believes the dragons are gone, if they ever existed at all. But we Burkians, we know otherwise. And we'll guard the secret until the time comes when dragons can return in peace.